Officer Wireman, how many times I gotta ask you? Keep your hands off of me when you wake me up. Hit my bed. Don't put your hands on me. I'm an officer and you're an inmate. So if you don't like it, boy, do something about it. Do something about it, boy. Warden gay skill. All due respect, man. Your officer, he's running around here using the N-word loosely, calling blacks the N-word, man. And I think something needs to be done about this immediately. Son, I don't go against my officers. If my officer said that you did something, you did it. And that's just the way that it goes. Yo, you gonna touch me again, man? What did I tell you I was gonna do to you next time you put your hands on me? What did I tell you I was gonna do to you the next time you touch me in the morning waking me up? Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again. Real Ken's TV and the house like kitchen sinks. You know, oftentimes I speak about overbearing correctional officers rather, and how a lot of them act a certain type of way. You know, they just go overboard with doing their jobs. You know, some of them do it just because they're miserable. Some of them do it because they're trying to move up the ranks, you know, move up the ladder. But for whatever reason, it's not acceptable to treat a person any type of way simply because you're in a position of power. So you feel. You know, these overbearing correctional officers, they act as though you're going to be in prison forever. They act as though you all don't live in the same community. They act as though you can't run into them at Walmart somewhere. And I'm not suggesting to ever do anything to a correctional officer. I'm not suggesting to ever do anything to anyone. But I'm just simply saying some people, they're not playing with a full deck. Some people, you know, they don't forget, oh man, this dude did this to me, you know, years ago or whatever. Now they got an opportunity to strike back. And voila, there you have it. I was at the gas station earlier today and I ran into a ex-correctional officer, Wireman. And I've told the story of Wireman before about how he was a racist correctional officer. And basically he would just get away with it. Now, the weird part about it is, well, the funny part about it is, Wireman didn't have a clue who I was. But guess what? I knew who he was. I knew exactly who he was. Now, he's all old now. There's nothing wrong with being old. It's actually a blessing to get old. But he don't really look like he's in the best of health, the best of shape, or what have you. He looks all broken down. And I couldn't help but to just, you know, reflect back to how he used to treat people, especially blacks. But he didn't like anybody. One of the dangers in being locked up in the system is that once you're bound over to the Department of Corrections, now let me break it down for you, because you could be doing county time, which means you're not doing any more than 12 months, and it's a misdemeanor. But once you're sentenced in felony court, you're bound over to the Department of Corrections. So they're subject to send you anywhere within the state. The feds will send you anywhere in the country. But state case, they're going to send you anywhere within the state that has available bed space. So you may go to a town that, I don't know, it may be 300 inmates there and 2 blacks. 3 blacks. Just depends on, you know, they're going to send you wherever they send you. They're not going to send you where it's fair. They're not going to send you, you know, where you want to go. No. Wherever we got bed space, this is where you're going to go. Now, you know, at some point you can put in transfer requests and, you know, recommendations of where you want to go. But at the end of the day, it's all about bed space, as I've mentioned previously. So Officer Wireman, you know, he was just an officer at this point. And he was just one of those guys that was just a jerk for no reason. I'm talking about, man, you'll walk past him, he'd be like, you, come here. Put your hands up. Turn around. And he'd just shake you down. He'd just shake you down on the yard. You might be coming out of the bathroom, anywhere. He would just do things simply because he could. Now, Wireman worked the visitation a lot. When you work the visitation, basically, once you leave visit, you have to get strip searched. So it seemed to be right up Wireman's alley. No pun intended. So he seemed to love to strip search inmates. Now, when you come out visit, you got to stand in line unless you're the first in line. And you go into a room. Sometimes it's the bathroom. Oftentimes it's the bathroom, but it just depends on, what facility you're in. This particular facility, it was the barbershop area. So one person comes out, another person goes in. Officer Wireman, he's in there waiting. Now, when he strip search you, he's gonna make you take every article of clothing that you have on. He's gonna make you take it off. See, the cool COs, they don't do it. They'll be like, all right, take your shirt off, pull your pants down, but you got on your boxers or shorts underneath, and he ain't even really looking. He's just trying to make it look good. Even though the cameras can't see you getting strip searched, he's gonna, okay, take your shoes off. All right, cool. And he's gonna walk out. That's it. That's what a cool officer's gonna do and allow you to get dressed. Not Wireman. Wireman's gonna sit there and make you, like I said, take off every article of clothing. And when you do it, it's one by one. Take your shirt off. Take your shirt off, hand it to him. He's fumbling through the shirt to make sure you haven't miraculously hid something in the shirt, a little Hanes t-shirt. He's going to go through your state shirt. In prison, in Kentucky, you wear the khaki uniform shirts. He's going to check your pockets, the linings of the shirts, make sure there's nothing in the shirt. Then, you're going to have to take your pants off. He's going to check your pants. Take your boxers off. He's going to sit there and go through the lining, the waist strap of your boxers to make sure that there's nothing hidden in there. And in the meanwhile, you're just sitting there butt naked. Take your socks off one at a time. He's going through your socks. Okay, take your hands, run them through your hair. Make sure you don't have anything hidden in your hair. Pull your ears back. Open your mouth. Raise your tongue. He's putting the flashlight in to make sure you don't have anything hidden in your mouth. Okay, check under your armpits. Raise your sack. And he's looking, a little bit too hard if you ask me. He's looking. Raise your sack. Okay, turn around. Lift the bottom of your feet one at a time. Okay, what I need you to do is bend, spread, and cough 3 times. That's not loud enough. Cough again. Come on, man. I just coughed, man. Cough again. You want to write up? Now, once you do all of that, now you're free to put your clothes back on. And that's what a strip search is. Typically, like I said, the cool COs, they don't make you go through any of that stuff. Some COs are just, you go in the room, you sit in there and talk for about a minute and walk out. All right, just act like you're putting your clothes back on. That's why I said sometimes they just make you put your shirt on or take your shirt off or something like that. So when you come out, you straightening yourself out or whatever. So it looks good for the cameras. Wireman did not like black people for whatever reason. For whatever reason, he didn't like black inmates. He didn't like no inmates, but he really didn't like blacks. It was a particular situation to where Wireman was warned by an inmate. Now, officers are not supposed to touch you in prison. When they wake you up, they're supposed to hit the metal rack or, hit your bed, but not touch you. Wireman had a terrible habit of touching people to wake them up. So it was this one dude, man, I don't even remember his name, man. We just gonna call him, we gonna call him DeVille, because he was from Louisville, Kentucky, so we gonna call him DeVille. He had already told Wireman, man, Wireman, I done asked you before, man, quit touching me when you wake me up, man. That scares me. I'm in a deep sleep or whatever, and you come by and you touch me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. All you got to do is just hit my bunk, hit my mattress, whatever. You don't have to touch me. Flash the, flashlight in my face. I see you. Flash your weapon. I mean, not your weapon. Your flashlight in my face. Anything but touch me. So him and Wireman would go back and forth. Now, Wireman, he didn't like this dude whatsoever. Wireman would do a shakedown. Now, when I say a shakedown, that means put your hands behind your back. He gonna cuff you. You sit in a chair, and they go through your belongings, your mattress, your locker, whatever. Make sure that you don't have any weapons or anything that you're not supposed to have. Wireman shakedowns were very, very, strategic, especially for this individual, the Ville. Shake him down. Officers will shake you down 2 or 3 minutes, they done. Not Officer Wireman. You might be sitting in that chair with your hands cuffed for 30 minutes. And he would cuff your hands real tight. You like, come on, man. These cuffs is hurting my wrist. Well, stay out of prison then. You don't got to worry about that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. You right. You right, Wireman. You said it and you was right. So he would shake DeVille down. In one particular situation, I never will forget this. Prison is about survival. So if you don't have people sending you money, or you don't have a lot of money or any money coming in, guess what? You got to do what you got to do to eat. You got to do what you got to do to survive. People that's never been to prison, they like, oh man, why do you need money in prison? What are you spending it on drugs? What are you gambling? Sometimes people do that. But even if you're not doing any of the cardinal sins in prison, such as those two things, you need money. You eat at 5, maybe 5:15, 5:20, and you don't eat again until 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Some places you eat at 4:30. So you eat earlier than 5 or 5:15. So just imagine you don't have anything in your locker, and you got to go another 12 or 13 hours before you all eat again. The child hall is way, depending on where your dorm's at. It's not like it's connected to your dorm. So the winter time, it's 6 degrees outside. You got to bundle up and walk to the child hall. It's going to take you 10 minutes to get to the child hall. Like I said, depending on which dorm you're in. When you go in there, it's some nasty grits with some cheese in them, a piece of cornbread, and some eggs and milk. That's what breakfast is going to be. Now, myself, I hate grits. I don't like grits whatsoever. I never even went to breakfast when I was in prison. Anytime I was in prison, I rarely went to breakfast. I've gone to breakfast, but it was just, they have a menu, so you know pretty much what you're having from day to day. So if they was going to have something on, pancakes or something like that, I might go. Or I might go and give my breakfast tray away. It just depends. So during that time to where that 12, 13-hour period to where you haven't eaten, guys is in there and they cooking. They getting it on that grill. Some of the most talented people, I always say it, is in prison. Dudes that really know how to cook, man. I'm talking about, and they can whip anything up in the microwave. Now they have the grills. So you can buy burger patties out of the commissary. You can buy banquet chicken. You can buy, they have salmon. Dudes will pat it's Jack mackerel. They'll pat it up. They'll take some chips, like some hot corn chips, crush them up real fine. Sprinkle the chips over top the salmon. And that's pretty much your batter. You frying salmon. Throw it on the grill, flip it, season it, do whatever you do. All types of things. You smelling popcorn. Dudes is cooking spaghetti, baked potatoes, because there's so many people in the dorm, so you're going to have a variety of meals that's being cooked. Chicken tenders, fried potatoes. You're smelling all of these things, but you're sitting there and you don't got a noodle in your locker. Or you might have a couple noodles in your locker because you hustled up on a couple noodles. Because, see, in prison, you work. They're requiring you to work, but you don't make any money. Unless you have a special job that makes $150, $160 a month, $120 a month, you're going to make about $26, $27 a month. And oftentimes, to get those jobs to where you're making $150, $160 a month, whole lot of bootlicking that goes on. Bootlicking trustees, man. Yeah, I mean, now I ended up having one of those jobs, but it wasn't no bootlicking. And I don't even know how I kept the job because I rarely went to work. So I don't even know. People would be like, no, how do you not get fired? I would find every reason not to go to work because there's just so many bootlickers out there. And it's like, man, how did you get to prison, man? If you act this way on the street, there's no possible way that you would have came to prison. But people wait to come to prison. Now they, yes, sir, no, sir, Mr. Johnson. It's a whole lot of that going on. So $25, $26, $27 a month is not going to take you very far in prison. You got to get your hygiene. They're going to charge you $5 for a bottle, for deodorant, a little bitty small degree deodorant. Now, you might spend $3 and get the cheaper one, but that has to last you a whole month. Get you a few bars of soap, get you some toothpaste. By the time you do that, half of your money's gone. Then you might get you something to make you some money. Okay, a couple bags of coffee. You bag them up into the little bags or whatever, baggies, and sell your coffee. You might buy you some peanut butter, maybe some M&Ms or something like that, to where you can make you some hot fudge and sell the hot fudge pieces for $1. So you hustle. You do whatever you got to do in prison to make it if you're not, nobody's sending you any money. I'm talking about people do other people's laundry. People cook for you. Got guys that'll go and pick up stuff, like go pick your laundry up for you. iron your clothes, people draw. There's all type of hustles in prison. Well, as I mentioned, DeVille didn't have anybody sending him any money, so this particular situation that occurred, when Wireman shook him down, he had maybe 5 or 6 noodles. He had a summer sausage, which was half of a summer sausage that he had eaten. He had a couple sleeves of crackers, some chips, maybe a pickle, some tuna, something like that. He had hustled up on all of these items. Well, in prison, you have to have your receipt. So if, for instance, if an officer shakes me down and I have all of these items in my locker, heck, I could only have 5 items in my locker, and I can't account for these items, guess what? He's taking the items, and he's going to hit me up. He's going to write me up for, I think it's unauthorized property. Something crazy. So now I'm dealing with a write-up. I'm trying to make parole, but I have to deal and explain to the parole board, which you don't see the parole board in Kentucky unless you have a violent offense or a very, very dangerous crime. So now they're just reviewing your file. Oh. I see he hasn't learned yet. He's still getting write-ups. And a lot of the write-ups are bogus. They're from officers that can just write you up simply because they choose to. See, the thing about an officer, and they know it, they're never going to go against an officer in prison unless that officer is somehow aiding and abetting the inmate, helping the inmate out. If they find out that you bring it in, the officer's bringing in something to the inmate, or he's giving the inmate special privileges, oh, now you know, they're ready to send you to Alcatraz. But if you're being rude, or you're making racial slurs, or you're just being violent or what have you, your word means absolutely nothing. And this particular day, he was shaking DeVille down, and DeVille's complaining because he's taking too long. And then he done took his items or whatever. He's putting his items in the bag. So the shakedown wasn't over with, but he know that he's taking his items because he's like, man, I don't have no receipt. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had receipts, but you had to have like a recent receipt. He had receipts from 5 or 6 months ago, but he didn't have a recent receipt with all of those items on there. So Wireman took all of his food. So now he has absolutely no food. So he's going back and forth with Wireman. Next thing you know, Wireman calls him the N-word. Calls him the N-word. You don't like it, nigger? Excuse my French, but that's what he said. You don't like it, nigger? That's exactly how Wireman talked. Now, it was only a few of us in the dorm, so we looking around like, I hear this. I like blatantly hear this. I'm like, did he just said that? So dude was like, DeVille's like, yeah, man, let me get a grievance form. So, one of the officers' favorite things to say, yeah, make sure you spell my name right, guy, by God. That's how he talk, because, spell my name right on the paperwork or whatever. Because the grievances, they're never going to leave the facility. You know where grievances end up? In the trash can. So they mean absolutely nothing. So I'm like, oh, no, it ain't even cool, man. That's not cool. Like I said, Wireman's been doing this for so long. The way that he treats the inmates, the way that he treats the black inmates. So it's like, okay. So we out on the yard maybe a couple days later. Every once in a while on the yard, you see the warden walk through. She was one of the wardens. They had like 3 wardens. So I think she was like the assistant warden. She walks through. She's a black lady. I catch her. I say, Miss Warden. I don't even remember her name. Miss Warden, can I talk to you for a second? Can I ask you a question or whatever? She said, yeah, sure. So she actually spoke with me. And it's crazy because the wardens don't really like to walk the yard because inmates are always going up to them complaining or, expressing concerns. I don't even want to say complaining, but, it's 1,000 questions or whatever. So, they have to walk with security because they pretty much get bombarded. But Miss Gateskill, that's what her name was, Miss Gateskill. So I pull her to the side, and it's me and 2 other inmates. I say, Miss Gateskill, no disrespect or anything like that, but Officer Wireman, was conducting a shakedown. I was trying to be professional. He was conducting a shakedown, and it was a rather long shakedown, and the inmate, that he was shaking down was complaining about the cuffs being too tight, and, Wireman, it was no sense of urgency. He was just taking his time. I said, but I understand he was doing his job. But at the end of the shakedown, they was kind of exchanging words, and he called him the N-word. So she was like, my officer called an inmate the N-word? I was like, yes, ma'am. And the other two guys that was, they were standing with me. She was like, were you all there? Yes, ma'am, we were there. We heard him. She said, son, I'm going to tell you like this. The best thing you can do right now is to just end this conversation, because I can write you up for inciting a riot right now. I can have you locked up and thrown in the hole right now for inciting a riot. So I'm looking at her like, ma'am, I'm not trying to, incite a riot. I just thought that there would be something that, need to be brought to your attention, that you have this officer that's running around calling, black inmates the N-word. I rock with what my officer says. She didn't say rock. I go with what my officer says. So there's nothing that you can tell me that's ever going to make me go against my officer. There's protocols. There's chain of commands. You should have filed a grievance. You should have, ma'am, a grievance was filed. Well, it never came across my desk because you're the warden. Grievances don't come across. They have a grievance committee. It's not going to come across your desk. So basically, she just brushed me off, told me go on, threatened to lock me up or what have you. So the harassment continues with DeVille and Wireman. One morning, it hit the fan. Oh yeah, it hit the fan. I should edit this video. I might edit this video and put a fan, and you'll see a fan in the corner pop up, and but no, seriously, I gotta stay focused, stay serious. He goes to wake up DeVille in the morning, because they're required to wake you up. DeVille worked in the kitchen, so they're required to wake you up, and that's another hustle. That's another hustle, working in the kitchen, stealing chicken patties, hamburger patties, anything of value in that kitchen that they supposed to serve us, but they rarely do. Pizza. Oh man, you're gonna come back to the dorm and make a killing. You're gonna kill them. I'm not suggesting that you steal, but I'm just saying in prison, man, you do what you got to do to survive. At any rate, he wakes DeVille up 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever time he got to be at work. DeVille wakes up. Bro, what I tell you about touching me, man, when I'm asleep? What did I tell you about touching me when I'm asleep? Wireman got another smart comment. DeVille couldn't take it no more. He jumps out of his rack. He's on the top rack. He jumps out of his rack. What's up, man? You keep talking all this stuff like you real tough. What's up? Now, the officers, they wear a, we call it the panic button, but they keep their radio, and it's like a little contraption that they have right here to where it stays on their shoulder. So anytime they need to get to that red button, that panic button, they can hit it, and the rest of the officers will come running. He's telling Wireman like, nah, man, you keep acting like you so tough. So Wireman is kind of enticing him. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it or whatever? Next thing you know, boom! I'm talking about Blaze Wireman straight out. When I say laid him out, I'm not talking about staggered him. I'm not talking about, made him do the Harlem Shake. I'm talking about knocked him out to where his legs folded and he falls straight back. Boom, he's laid out snoring. He's snoring, knocked all the way out. One punch knocks Wireman out. The people that were up, because it was early in the morning, so certain people are up, certain people are not up. Because the kitchen workers, they'll have to be at work before anybody else because they have to prepare the breakfast. So actually, it was before 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning because you eat at 5:30. So it was whatever time it was, 4 o'clock in the morning. So a few people was up or whatever. He lays Wireman, I'm talking about lays him flat out. He was going to stomp him all the way out, but he didn't. Well, of course, the cameras caught it. They come running in, the lights turn on immediately or whatever. They come in there, Wireman's still out. I'm talking about he's snoring and everything. He's laid out. He's not on his back. He's kind of on his side like this. Just laid out. Dudes was laughing. Now, DeVille already knew that they was coming for him. He knew that once those lights turned on, and not to mention Wireman's going to tell on him anyway. So they came, locked him up, put your hands behind your back or whatever. They really, like, a lot of correctional officers, not all of them, because I done met some cool correctional officers. Some of them just there for their paycheck. They're not trying to bother nobody. They're not trying to make your time harder or whatever. But some of them really act like they're actual police officers. Want to read you. You got the right to remain silent. Anything you say, hold on, sir, you ain't even supposed to be reading me my rights. This ain't, you ain't Metro. You ain't outside police. You want to read me my rights. They lose it sometimes, I guess. I don't know. So they come, they rough him up a little bit, they take him to the hole, and eventually they wake Wireman's punk ass up, and he's split. So people's laughing. He's laughing. Well, he's not laughing, but people are laughing at him. They're trying to bring him to. He don't even really recall what happened. He don't even know he just got knocked the F out. So they take Wireman out of there. Everybody's a big old joke. That's the talk of the yard or whatever. Man, Wireman got knocked out, man. Yeah, the Ville, he knocked Wireman straight out, put him to sleep, man. Had him snoring and everything. So the Ville ended up getting prosecuted. Wireman pressed charges. We're in a Commonwealth state, so even if Wireman didn't press charges, the Commonwealth's gonna pick it up and press the charges anyway. But he ended up getting a year in the hole. He had to do a year in the hole, and he lost his good time. So any good time that he had accumulated through good behavior, he lost that, and it was non-restorable. A good time makes a big difference, because if you got a 10-year sentence, I'm gonna give you an example. If you got a 10-year sentence, you can make it home in 6 years with good time and a couple programs under your belt or whatever. He lost all his good time, like I said, a year in the hole, and they pressed charges on him, and he picked up an additional 5 years, I want to say, for striking staff. And he had to go behind the fence. He had to stay behind the fence, rather. So he was never going to be able to go to a camp or anything like that. So it was just one of those things to where they took a whole lot from him. I don't think that that's worth it. I don't think that I would do anything like that, because look at all the extra time that I'm going to spend locked up. And so when I seen Wireman at that gas station today, I mean, I had to laugh. I wanted to be like, man, you remember me, man? You remember you was a correctional officer or whatever, and that dude split you, wired your jaw shut? You remember that? I really wanted to say that to him, but I said, nah, man, because, I'm out here on the streets. I've been out for a lot of years. I'm doing well. Next thing you know, he'll try to say that I threatened him, or that I said some intimidating, disparaging remarks, or, So I said, nah. I just looked at him, and, we locked eyes, you know what I mean? Pause. So he probably looked at me like, man, he looks familiar. But like I said, that's the danger when you're a jerk. When you're a jerk and you're in a position of power, all the people that you've been a jerk to, guess what? You're not going to remember all of them, but they're most definitely going to remember you. Just think if I had a vendetta, if I had a problem with Wireman. Even after all these years, if I had a real problem with him, he never would have seen it coming. But again, I don't advocate violence. I'm never going to do anything to anybody, especially a correctional officer or, anything like that, because more harm is going to come out of it than good. Watch how you treat people, man. All types of different individuals watch my videos. Some people have been in prison, some haven't, some have, high-ranking positions, some don't. It doesn't matter. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Don't treat people any type of way just because you feel like, I'm an officer, I can get away with it. Because the truth be told, officers allow you, let's rewind that. Inmates allow officers to go home to their families. Because if an inmate decides that, today's the day, man. My girl ain't answering the phone, or she done left me. My family don't love me. Ain't nobody sending me no money. I got 35 years. Don't even got a chance of getting out. I done exhausted all my appeals and lost all of them. So yeah, I got a chance of getting out. Yeah, in about 28, 29 years. And this officer think he gonna come in here and just talk slick to me today? Today might be the day, man. I'm already 50 years old. I'm already 45. So I got to do another 26, 27 years before I get out? Nah. Today might be that day. Might be the day where you don't make it home. So you really need to watch how you treat people in any, and I'm not just talking about the correctional officer, anybody is in position of power, even if you're not in position of power, watch how you treat people, man. Because guess what? That same person that you mistreated and talk crazy to, you could see him at the gas station. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you liked the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Shout out to Officer Wireman. Respectfully.